Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Sorry for the delay, but we are back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about CHROMAKOPIA by Tyler, the Creator. With 44 monthly listeners on Spotify alone, there is probably not too much introduction that Tyler needs at this point in his career, but just a little background. This is going to be his 8th studio album, going back all the way from 2011, and obviously that 2011 Wolfgang Yonkers, Loiter Squad Tyler is a much different person than it is what we see now with this CHROMAKOPIA Tyler, for better or for worse, depending on what you want in his music. But for majority of the world, probably better. Even if you look at this in terms of just stylistically, this bottom row, his first 4 years, first 4 albums were obviously in his younger adolescence, where he's just making crazy music and crazy lyrics and going viral for making, you can tell that he was good at making music, but he was just making stupid songs that he was just making whatever he wanted because he could. He's a funny ass dude. It reflects in a lot of his older music, obviously his older skits as well, but he is a full-fledged musical artist now, and somebody that takes his artistry really seriously from what I can understand. In and out of the booth, even with his fashion and his influence and things like that. It seems like he's really honed in on who he wants to be as a creator, if you will. But to get into the album, 14 songs, 53 minutes, great sample size. And this album, if you haven't heard it, you probably have heard about it, at least seen something about it. The streaming numbers alone are going crazy. The intro song has 42 million streams. No song has less than 16 million streams at this point. And I think this album is going to make a lot of noise. This album is going to be nominated for a lot of things. And I think this album is really going to put Tyler in a different echelon that he was not necessarily in before. Again, in terms of seriousness of how he takes his music, there was not too much in the beginning of his career that there was no building blocks musically to continue as a musical artist. You know, he was continuing as a creator. He was continuing as a funny man, as a personality that can also make good music, but he wasn't taking it seriously. But I do believe now he's taking it seriously. And I think it shows on this latest album, CHROMAKOPIA. We've got a bunch of features, actually. We got Daniel Caesar on the first opening track, Tizo Touchdown, Glorilla, Sexy Red, Lil Wayne, Daniel Caesar again, Latoya Williams, Schoolboy Q, Santi Gold, Lola Young, Doechii. So a lot of friends helped him out on this album, but a lot of it is him still just being Tyler. I think the album starts off hot. I think Say Chroma is a great start to the album, kind of sets the tone well. The production is really good on it. Ratata is solid. Noid is interesting because vocally it's a very interesting, unique sound. If I wasn't paying attention and I wasn't listening to this album like intentionally, I probably wouldn't know that it was him, to be honest. Darling with Tizo Touchdown isn't my favorite, but it's okay. Hey Jane is a very personal song. Hey Jane, I Killed You, and Judge Judy seem to be all, him wanting to really pull the pen out and really tell a story over some of his more classic sounding Tyler beats. And then we get into Sticky with, again, Glorilla, Sexy Red, and Lil Wayne. I think the song is very fun, and I think he could have dropped this as like a single in the summer, and I think it would have done a lot of noise. Take Your Mask Off is obviously a pretty heavy song, message included. And then Tomorrow is probably my least favorite song on the album. It's my least favorite. Thought I Was Dead with Schoolboy, that song is pretty hard. I like that. Like Him, the production I thought was really good on it. And then Balloon, obviously fun production, and that Doechii verse is pretty hard. It's very good at the end. And then the outro, I Hope You Find Your Way Home. It's a good outro, it does the job. So again, these numbers are going crazy. I believe he sold like over 325,000 that first week, dropping on a Tuesday, which I think obviously this world is full of trends and people following. So I won't be surprised if your next favorite artist drops on a Tuesday, because of the success that he's had here so far this week. But to get into the grades, for production, I gave him a 9. I only gave him a 9 because I just thought there was just a few times, or a decent amount of times rather, where he produced the whole album, which is amazing, which is great. I think there's a lot of really well-produced things, and I want to give him his credits as a producer. I just think there were a few moments where he's just using too many of his old sounds and his old bridges and old structures that are just, we've heard it before. But there was a lot of new stuff, which is why I still gave it a 9, because I don't want to hate and drop it any more than it should, because it doesn't need to be dropped. For vocals and lyrics, again, I'm not going to be a hater. I gave him a 4.25 for both. 4.25 for vocals and a 4.25 for lyrics. His vocals, he plays around with a lot of different vocals, and I think my favorite of his is when he's really trying to rap and he has kind of that deeper voice and that deeper tone and those a little bit more heavier cadences. But there's a lot of different mixed bags on this album. And same thing with lyrics. He's really writing, really telling a story. Again, with those 3 songs in the middle with Hey Jane, I Killed You, and then Judge Judy. Even with Take Your Mask Off. It's really intentional work. You know, he's not just making an album to make an album. So I'd be hating if I gave it any less than a 4.25 for each. Cohesion is always a difficult one. I think he gets a lot of points for the sonic cohesion. Even the end of the album flows into the beginning of the album, so you can just listen to it on repeat. Again, cohesion is a difficult thing. If it doesn't feel uncohesive, I try not to be a hater. So I'm going to give it an 8.5 because I think, again, sonically, there's a lot. He made it flow, even if the sonics of each song weren't exactly flowing. He did make parts of it work. And even if the songs, the topics of the songs, if you will, weren't too cohesive, he made it work. And he told his story, so I'm going to give it an 8.5 for cohesion. For originality, I gave it a 9. Again, along the lines of that production, I think he's just doing too much of his own stuff. There's a 90% of the album is original and new and hot new stuff. But just those repeated sounds, similar to what Kanye does, where there's just too many times where you have those same sounds. But otherwise, I gave him a 9 for originality. And then last but not least, quality. I'd be hating if I gave him anything but a 10. From the rollout, from the music videos, from the sticking to the hair that he has in the cover, and sticking to the hair that he has in the album, or excuse me, in the music videos that he's dropped so far, dropping it on a Tuesday, hiding the features. This album is, you can tell he was ready. He took the time. This is a well-deserved 10 for quality. And I think this kind of sets the standard to anybody that wants to be a real artist and be taken seriously. Just look into this album. I gave it a 10. But with a 9, a 4.25, 4.25, 8.5, a 9, and a 10, this does put this album at a 90. I think objectively that's very fair. I think if you are a Tyler fan, this might be like the best album that you've ever heard. If you're not a Tyler fan, I think you can explore it a little bit. Obviously expect that there's going to be some new sounds for you and some new ideas and some new, you know, it's going to be fun and it's going to be confusing for a little bit if you're new to that Tyler sound. But I think objectively and overall, this album can reach a decent amount of different audiences. So I do think that 90 is fair. Again, I'd be hating if I give it any less of a grade, because music is music. I think there's going to be a lot of people that like have this as their #1 album of the year, #1 Tyler album. I mean, shit, the numbers are proving it as well. And you don't get a 90 for no reason, and you don't sell 325 for no reason. Yeah, if you have time, check this album out. Tyler, the Creator, CHROMAKOPIA. I'll see you in the next one.